Welcome to Tea with Terika. I'm back for another video today, and like I mentioned before in my previous posts, we're going to mention a giveaway soon. So a giveaway of one of the products that I do order. So it's going to be like a mystery giveaway. I'm going to give away to subscribers. So whoever does subscribe to my channel, you'll be put into a wheel to receive a free prize from me. So I would suggest getting those subscriptions up, but I'll mention more about this giveaway at the end. Today, like I mentioned, I'll be talking more about how I became a mental health counselor. So there's difference between being a counselor and a therapist. So my degree is a Master's of Science from the University of Rochester in mental health counseling. So I function as both a counselor and a therapist. Sometimes the words are used interchangeably, but there is a difference between the meaning behind the words. So a counselor is more of a short-term individual that just sees a patient for a short period of time. So I function as a counselor in addictions, also called chemical dependency. So that's one side of the spectrum that a mental counselor can work in. The other side is also mental health. So I function as a private practice therapist who sees patients more over time. So that's for a longer period of time for treatment. So before we get into that, I want to mention a few products that I did use today. So I just want to talk about stuff that I do use over time. So one thing about me is that I get my lashes done. So I get volume lashes, and I want to mention a few products that I do use on my lashes. So I go to actually the Lash and Brow Studio where I live. That's going to be put down below, and they are fantastic. My technician is Jessica. So she is actually a really good person. She gives me tips about my lashes and what I should use. One recommendation she did make that I saw very good improvement is GrandeLASH MD. So GrandeLASH I did get from Ultra Beauty. It's something that you can buy in the store. So I'm going to be putting the product down below with a URL so you can see it as well from Ultra Beauty. Also on my lashes, I'll be using LivBay Lash Bath. So LivBay will also be down below. It does have videos here on YouTube describing how you should use the lash bath on your lashes. I use this once a week on my lashes to keep them clean, so they won't get any particles or different lash gookies that get into your lashes while you're sleeping or just from your eyes. It also allows oils to come off too, and it is a very soapy formula, so using a lot of water to get it off does work very well. So getting more into my story. So I became a mental health therapist, and I graduated this past October officially, but I did finish my program back in August. So I started back in 2018. So I started when I was 23 years old, after taking my gap year after my undergrad career. So for my graduate school, they suggest you not work during school. So background for me, I work full-time and went to school full-time because I'm an overachiever. I like doing things that people tell me not to do. And I also like doing things that seem impossible. Sometimes it wasn't possible. I was stressed, I was tired, I was exhausted. There's a lot of stuff I was a little bit crazy on the inside too. And I was piled on pile with work, and I piled on pile with stress, and it was not the best thing. I became anxious as well. And I honestly do not recommend that you work full-time during graduate school, but if you have to, for financial reasons like I did, I put in some elbow grease and I went straight into work. I worked full-time Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then I went to school for 2.5 to 4 hours right after. So it was an experience. So give more background on my program. I did a full year of classes my first year of graduate school. So a lot of classes surrounding the basic foundations of mental health, assessment, treatment, and how to basically work with patients from different populations. And then during your second year, actually, going back to my first year, during your first year, the second half, you do your practicum. So your practicum experience is just getting a little bit more background into what you want to do and what population you want to work with. So the population that I chose to work with is children. So children were my main thing that I wanted to do mental health with. So I started my practicum off at a small agency where I live, and at the end of the day, that practicum placement did not work. I was seen as not the best person fit to work with children, but the program was also directed towards a population that were older, more teenage adult, that I did not and was not interested in. So that did not work out. So I put out a different placement in my second half of my first year of graduate school, where I did complete as a school where there were a whole bunch of children running around, coming in and out, and I worked underneath a very good social worker at one of the schools where I live, and that was a great experience, and that's how I finished my practicum. And I also transitioned over to a new internship site. So you do your internship during your second year. So a year-long internship that you are basically working in the field. Like any internship, you don't get paid. You don't get paid for your work. You'll be working about 20 hours a week, like a part-time job, but you won't be getting paid for it. What I think is gypped, and they should pay you a little bit and give you some of an incentive, but they do not. So you're doing work for a company for free and getting educational credits as a result. So I worked for one of the big healthcare systems for mental health for pediatrics where I live. So that placement lasted for half a year, a little over, because at the end of the day, my work, my personal life, and a lot of outside stuff got in the way. So like I said, I suggest for graduate school to take a break from certain stuff and put some priorities on the line. I've put both of them on the same level, which caused me to not be able to do everything at the same time, which caused a lot of discrepancies in my internship and made me, I'm going to be honest, make me really have to leave my internship. So I actually had to take a break because at the same time my internship ended and I was no longer going there. So when COVID hit, a lot of places were closed. A lot of internship sites were closed down. So I had to wait on to see where I can go to next. So I actually went to work with the mobile crisis team underneath the same umbrella as the site where I was at. So I worked a lot with the emergency ED, where I was actually employed as an employee through. So I wasn't employed during my internship site, but I was employed as I was an intern through a partner program called the Mobile Crisis Team. So I worked in a psychiatric ED as a psychiatric technician at the same time. So that actually was really good because it kept me moving and I learned a lot from my supervisor and the individuals I went out with. So for Mobile Crisis, you get up and you go out into different houses, which was similar to my practicum experience, but it wasn't more on the same level of mental health. The practicum experience I saw was more caseload management, and this was actually mental health, doing an assessment, putting down stuff, giving some recommendations, also speaking to psychiatrists on site. And a lot of it was through telehealth for psychiatrists. So really, psychiatrists can come anywhere into anyone's house to give recommendations on medication and then prescribe them right then and there. And I found that very helpful for those individuals during COVID who was in quarantine and could not leave during that time. So overall, I finished my internship back in July. So I work for chemical dependency at one of the hospitals where I live, along with I do telehealth through a private practice as well, which I am not going to mention the titles yet since I want to ask about privacy and confidentiality reasons for their clinicians, and I have not done so yet. So if you're interested in where I work, there is some general information I have up neither on my Facebook page or on my Instagram. So overall, I would say that my experience in graduate school, where I am now, like I said, a mental health counselor, I did a lot of grinding, a lot of rewinding, reflecting, and generally a lot of having to look into myself and see what I really wanted. Because after my internship ended, I was more concerned that this wasn't the field for me. I spent all this money, and I feel like a lot of other students do too. Is this really what I want to do? Do I want to spend all this money to do something that I kind of want to do? And I figure out this actually is what I want to do. I want to live my life helping people. I like the brain. I like the mind. My undergrad was in psychology and brain and cognitive sciences. So I like anything that has to do with the mind and how it thinks, how it works, how it functions, and how all that mixed together to make up mental health and how chemicals along with drugs affect that. So my background is not in the chemical dependency field, as I said. Both my internship sites were working with children mental health. So working with adults and chemical dependencies, a little bit on the opposite end of the spectrum. So I'm learning every single day, but I was trained during my program to do assessments, and I did take a class in addictions as well. So I'm learning every single day of how to work with individuals in the adult population. And I'm grateful for all the staff that I have worked with and have taught me what I know so far. So if you have any questions about going through any graduate school programs, such as mental health counseling, social work, marriage and family counseling, along with creative art therapy, we all work underneath the same umbrella and do the same things. We just have different requirements for our licensure. So I can make a video more about licensure a little bit next and talk about my path and my plan to take my licensing exam. Because I'm a mental health therapist, I cannot practice by myself. So I do have supervision, where in both my sites, I work underneath a licensed psychologist and a licensed social worker, clinical social worker to be more specific. But I will make another video talking more about my licensure path and how I'm going to work on my way to become a licensed mental health counselor and be able to practice on my own and not be supervised. So if you have any comments, put those down below, like this video. And like I mentioned, at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about the giveaway. So the giveaway. So like I said, I'm going to be adding in only people who do subscribe. Please subscribe to my channel, like and comment on my videos. I want everyone to like and comment on at least 2 videos that I have put up so far. So any videos you choose to comment on, that is your free will, but I want you to like and comment on 2 videos and subscribe to my channel. And you'll be put into the wheel to receive a free prize, and that's for both males and females. I'll be buying something for you guys and sending it to your address. So I'll be reaching out to you guys directly. So please have an open network of communication through your social media or any other form online that I can send something to you. So again, thank you for watching my video. This is the Tea with Terika. Let me get my tea. Delicious. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.